Midnight to 2 o'clock, the hook. Sound of howling wind. Imagine holding your breath. Not for a minute, not for 5, but for 22 minutes while standing at the very top of the world. At 29,032 feet, the air is so thin that every molecule of oxygen is a luxury the human body cannot afford. This is the death zone. Most climbers here rely on pressurized tanks, fighting for every ragged gasp. But one man, Elias Thorne, stood here not to climb, but to transcend. He set a world record that defies medical logic, the longest duration standing unassisted at the summit of Everest without supplemental oxygen. To understand this feat, realize that at this altitude, your blood thickens, your brain begins to swell, and your heart works with the intensity of a marathon runner just to keep you conscious. Elias Thorne didn't just survive, he stood still. 2 to 5 o'clock, the character. Elias wasn't born a legend, he was forged in the silence of the Andes. Growing up in a remote mining village, he learned that the mountains don't negotiate. When the great avalanche of '09 hit, Elias spent 3 days in a tomb of ice. Doctors said he should have been dead within hours. His survival was a biological miracle. He had entered a state of controlled hibernation, a rare, involuntary shutdown of non-essential bodily functions. For the next decade, he obsessed over this. He studied with Tibetan monks in the Himalayas and neuroscientists in Switzerland, learning to trick his autonomic nervous system. He turned his body into a high-efficiency engine, capable of running on fumes. 5 to 8 o'clock, the preparation. How do you train for the impossible? Elias built a hyperbaric chamber in his basement that simulated 30,000 feet of altitude. He spent 4 years living in an environment where the air was so thin, a normal person would lose consciousness in under 60 seconds. He practiced the stillness, a meditation technique where he kept his resting heart rate at a staggering 28 beats per minute. He wasn't just training muscles, he was rewiring his brain to ignore the primal, screaming urge to breathe. He underwent physical depletion cycles, running while starved of oxygen, forcing his mitochondria to adapt to extreme acidotic stress. 8 to 11 o'clock, the attempt. The day of the record, the wind was screaming at 70 miles per hour. The temperature was -45. The team reached the summit at 6 a.m. Elias stepped away from the group, found a small outcrop, and knelt. The stopwatch started. The world went silent. Minutes 5, 10, 15 passed. His skin began to turn a deep, bruised violet. Cyanosis was setting in. His Sherpas watched in terror. Every minute he stayed there was a minute his brain cells were literally dying. His blood oxygen saturation plummeted to 35%, a level that usually causes a coma. But he stayed. He entered that familiar, cold place from the crevasse. 20 minutes. 21. 22. The world record was shattered. As he finally inhaled, the sound was like a bellows forcing air into a dead furnace. He collapsed, but he had done it. 11 to 1300 hours, the aftermath. The medical results baffled the scientific community. Thorne had functioned for nearly half an hour in an environment that should have rendered him vegetative. The legacy of his record isn't just about the numbers, it's about the boundary of the human spirit. It challenges our understanding of the impossible. While most of us fear the lack of air, Elias Thorne looked into the abyss, held his breath, and found a home there. He proved that within the architecture of our biology, there are rooms we have yet to unlock. We look at the top of the world, and we see a mountain. Elias Thorne saw a doorway. And for 22 minutes, he walked through it.